Richard Angel from Angel Pets, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to select the correct food for your dog or your cat. The first thing you need to do is to look at the labelling on the food, and the first section of the label you need to look at is the analytical constituents or analysis section. In this case, analytical constituents. Listed will be protein, which is essential for growth, fat content or oil, which is essential for energy, crude ash, which is the mineral content, and crude fibre, which is something for the gut to push against. Nowhere on here is listed carbohydrate, and that's because carbohydrate is not an essential ingredient for a dog or a cat. Next is the composition or ingredients section. Here the label has to show the actual ingredients in order, with the largest component first. On this food, the first ingredient is cereal, which is a high carbohydrate source, which we've already said is not an essential ingredient for a dog or a cat. So why is it on there? Well, basically it's just a cheap filler and it serves no other purpose, and in this case it's also a waste stream from this company's other processes. Next, take a look at the quality of the ingredients. Under the labelling regulations, manufacturers have to use certain terminology to describe the ingredients in their dog or cat food, and not everybody understands what this terminology means. So the manufacturer will take a chicken and they will remove the breast and the thigh meat, and that's known as boneless chicken, and that's a top quality food. Next comes dehydrated, which is the same meat but just dried for storage. Then comes chicken meal, which is the carcass crushed up and ground. And the final, poorest quality is meat and animal derivatives, which is basically anything else that's left on the chicken, and which is really just beaks, toes and feathers. This food has one of the lowest meat sources that there is, so which is why you'll notice that it has vegetable protein extracts. Why do they have to add vegetable protein to the food? Well, basically because it's not got enough meat protein in it. This label comes from one of the best foods there is on the market, and you'll notice that apart from the protein and fat being higher, they go into a little bit more detail about what's in the food. Also, if you add up the constituents here, it comes to about 75%-ish. If you compare that with the last food, if you add all of those up, that comes to about 50%, just over. So what's the other 50%? Basically it's the filler, and the filler is missing from this food, so you would feed a lot less of this food than you would of the previous one. This is where you're going to see the main difference. If you look at the constituents or the ingredients, it starts with deboned chicken. That's the highest quality. You could eat this food before it's processed into a kibble. It comes fresh from the farm, so it's fit for human consumption before they process it. You'll also notice that this food makes a point about it being carbohydrate limited. The high carbohydrate in the other food basically gives the dog a sugar rush, so when it eats its meal it will get a sudden rush of energy, make it a bit hyperactive. With limiting the carbohydrates, that takes it out. So I have had customers come in with this food and say that their dogs have calmed right down since they've been feeding it as well. So that's an added bonus. And the other added bonus is that because there isn't all that waste cereal, there's less waste coming out the end of the dog, so they do poo less. A dog should poo however many times it eats. So if it eats once a day, it poos once a day. If it eats twice a day, it poos twice a day. If your dog's pooing 5 or 6 times a day, then you're feeding it a very poor quality food.